Hello and welcome to another manga spotlight. This is the guy she was interested in wasn't a guy at all by Arai Sumiko. And this is actually just a bunch of shorts that have been posted on Twitter by Sumiku. And it tells the story of this girl. Her name is Usara. She is a Gyaru. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Basically, those kind of materialistic Japanese girls. The ones that usually have tan skin, blonde hair, obsessed with makeup and the latest fashion, those kind of girls. So Usara is one of those. And she ends up coming across this guy who works at a music store. And she instantly develops a crush on this guy. But it turns out that the guy is not actually a guy, but a girl. And not only is it a girl, but it's actually the nerdy girl that sits right next to Usara in class. This is a Yuri. It is a girl's love or a girl-girl relationship kind of story. But yeah, as we can see here, popular Twitter shorts series depicting the love between a guy, Ryu, and her classmate she mistook as a guy outside of school, bonding over their mutual love for rock music. And we have our main character. Her name is Usara. Well, I guess I would actually say it's two main characters. It's Usara and Koga. So Usara is the Gyaru, and she is your typical Gyaru, except for the fact that she is obsessed with rock music, which she doesn't really share with anyone because they'll just find her weird. Because I guess rock music isn't that big of a thing, or at least American rock music, I guess, isn't that big in Japanese high school. I don't know, but yeah, she has a taste for American rock music, and so she's going to this music store and she's, looking through the CDs, listening to stuff. And there's this guy that she starts crushing on. And she doesn't know his name. She doesn't really know exactly what he looks like because he wears a face mask. So she can just kind of see like the upper half of his face. But she like instantly develops a crush on this guy. She's like listening to music, and as she's taking her headphones off, her hair gets tangled up in the headphones. And the guy goes and loosens it up for her, and they kind of start bonding over their love for rock music. The next day at school, she's basically telling her friends about her crush, about this guy who works at a music store that she, thinks is really hot and stuff. And as they're gossiping, we see right next to her is this nerdy girl with glasses. She's like, "Oh my God, what did I do? I got myself mixed up into something crazy." And this is Koga. And Koga is the guy from the music store. And I like the fact that it's not as simple as, oh, the guy at the music store doesn't wear glasses, Koga wears glasses. So it's not that much of like a Clark Kent. Like, she actually goes through the trouble of trying to hide like distinguishing marks and stuff. So while she is working at the music store, she dresses kind of tomboyish. She also wears a face mask. Rather than wearing glasses, she wears contact lenses. She has black nail polish on her fingernails, and she has a tattoo on her left wrist. However, when she goes to school, she wears glasses. She wipes off the fingernail polish, and she wears a wristband to cover up her tattoo. Not only that, but she wears her hair, instead of wearing it pulled back, like she does at the store, which reveals a bunch of like piercings. She instead has her hair come down to hide her ears, to hide her piercing holes. If you actually pay really close attention in this panel right here, you'll see that you can actually see the little piercing holes that she has in her ears. So yeah, she takes off all her piercings, but she hides the holes with her hair. And I like the fact that it's not just shoved right in your face, but you can kind of see all the little things that she's doing to kind of hide the distinguishing marks that she has when she's working. And so the story just basically becomes Usara just falling deeper and deeper in love with this guy who she has no idea what his name is. She just calls him Onisan. And they share their love for rock music. They basically share like the latest songs that come out. They share playlists that they enjoy. And yeah, she's just basically falling head over heels for this guy. Meanwhile, Koga is like, what do I do? Like, how do I get myself out of this situation? I can't just straight up tell her, hey, I'm the guy from the music store, because then everyone, like, she might gossip to everyone else and everyone will look at me weird. And I don't want that. So she can't just straight out come out and confess that, yeah, that's me that you're hitting on all the time. How's it going? So instead, she's just like, all right, well, I'll just be nicer. I'll just treat her as a friend, and we'll take this step by step. And so every chapter is just them coming closer and closer and bonding and stuff. And the good thing that I like about Usara is the fact that even though she's a Gyaru and she's like the popular girl and stuff like that, she's not really stuck up. She doesn't mistreat Koga. Like, you would think, okay, you got the popular girl sitting next to the nerdy kind of social outcast. She's probably going to pick on her, right? No, in fact, we actually have a scene later on where we have this male character. He plays like a bigger part later on in the story. His name is Narita. And Narita, he's introduced kind of as an a-hole at first. So he basically approaches Koga and says, hey, can I copy your homework? Because I didn't do it. And Koga says, oh, I haven't done my homework yet because she's been too busy at work. But she doesn't say that part. And Koga says something along the lines of, oh, I just thought like you were like the nerdy, smart one. Well, this was a waste of time. And Usara, since she sits right next to Koga, she overhears this, and she calls him out on that. It's like, wow, like, someone who asks for help and then disses, like, you're a jerk face. And this seems to hit Narita. And we just get like this funny like montage of throughout the rest of the day, he's just like, jerk face. It really stands out to him. And eventually, as he's walking home, he sees Usara going to the music store, notices that she looks flustered, and then notices that she's crushing on the clerk. And he's able to figure out that the clerk is actually Koga because they both have the same birthmark on their face. And so you would think, okay, this guy's going to turn into an a-hole. He's going to try to put a stop to this relationship. He's going to just come out and reveal to Osawa that she's actually crushing on a girl and that it's the nerdy girl that she sits next to in school. But actually, he doesn't do that. He's kind of like a jerk face with a heart of gold. He actually tries to set up situations where Usara and Koga will be together at school, whether it's volunteering them to help with tasks that they have to do, like cleaning up the club room or coming up with some kind of activity plan or whatever. He's basically trying to get them closer together so that they will actually be in a relationship. And later on, when Usara actually finds out that Koga is a girl and is the guy from the music store, which actually doesn't take all that long, which I'm kind of happy for, because I'm one of those people where usually when it comes to mangas like this where there's some kind of gimmick, they'll take that gimmick and they'll stretch it for so long. Like, we'll be like 100 pages in and we're still with that same gimmick. And it's like, I can't see that happening. I can't see Usara going 100 chapters not realizing that Koga and Unisan from the music store are the same people. So she actually pieces it together pretty quickly. And of course, there's this, like, she doesn't turn evil on Koga or anything like that, but there's just this whole like situation where she's like, oh my God, like, not only was the guy that I was crushing on going to my school, but it's actually not a guy at all. It's a girl. And it's this whole like, her realizing that she's in love with another girl. And of course that, she's not used to that. Obviously that kind of hits her, out of nowhere. And so she has to kind of come to terms with that. And while she's trying to do that, that puts a strain on the friendship that she was already developing with Koga. And so Naruto actually tries to help mend that friendship and get everything back on the Yuri track. So yeah, I was kind of happy with that. I was kind of happy with the fact that we took this guy who, like, it seemed like he was going to be like this unwanted love triangle who was going to try to ruin this relationship before it even started. But no, he's actually trying to get the relationship started. So yeah, this series is pretty lighthearted for the most part. I mean, of course, there is going to be drama in it. And we do get some more drama later on. as the series progresses and as the relationship gets a little bit closer. It's kind of funny because even before Usara realizes that Koga and Unisan are the same people, we do have moments between Koga and Usara where there's a little bit of a Yuri undertone. We have a moment where Usara drops one of her earpods and Koga picks it up and puts it in her ear and says, "I really like that song that you're listening to." And then they kind of like lock eyes for a moment. And it's just almost like this scene where you can tell that there's feelings there. So it's kind of interesting because it's Usara who assumes that she's just a straight woman in love with this guy at the music store, but at the same time she starts slowly developing feelings for the nerdy girl that sits next to her, never realizing that they're both the same people. And then when she does, of course, there's a rift that kind of develops there. It's not one of those where it's like overblown and dragged out for too long, thankfully. And then, like I said, the drama starts going where it's like Usara's kind of coming to terms with the fact that she has feelings for another girl, for the fact that it was Koga the entire time. And then we get some outside influence that kind of comes in to kind of put a little bit of a rift between the two. Thankfully, it's not like a love triangle or anything like that, because I hate those when it comes to manga romances. There's always like some kind of unwanted love triangle, or there's always a character who knows some kind of secret and is blackmailing one of the couples to not get together. And that's what I thought was going to happen with Narita. I thought Narita was going to like be the blackmailer, and he's going to like hold this over Koga's head, like, "I know who you are. If you don't want me to tell Usara, then just, get away from her or be mean, or date me instead," or I don't know, something like that. Thankfully, none of that ever happens. So it's nice. It's a refreshing take on not only just manga romance, but Yuri romance in general. Because like I said, like there's a lot of them out there. It's not just Yuri romances. A lot of manga romances where you just have the love triangle, you have the blackmail, you have all these unnecessary things that get dropped in for drama. And it's like there's always other things you could have done with drama that would make more sense rather than falling back on these cliches. So the fact that this series doesn't fall on those cliches is really just refreshing. Like I'm like, thank God. I mean, you like, for example, Usara discovers Koga's identity fairly quickly. I mean, it's like around chapter 18, but the chapters here are like 4 pages per chapter, so it's a really quick read. So overall in the story in general, it's pretty early on. So that's one thing that's out. Narita, you think he's going to be the blackmailer kind of character? No, he's actually trying to get the two together. So that's kind of out. You would think, okay, there's this girl that comes in and think, oh, she's going to be the third wheel. She's going to be getting involved in the love triangle. And it's like, no, her thing is actually different. She's not in love with Koga. So I like the fact that they're introducing drama, but in a way that's different and unique and more realistic and not falling back on the cliches that we've seen plenty of times before. So that's always great. But for the most part, it's kind of just this lighthearted series of, I don't want to say mistaken identity, but just, I guess you could say mistaken identity of this popular girl who falls in love with the guy who turns out to actually be the nerdy girl that sits next to her in class. And I highly recommend checking it out. It's a really short read. Like every single chapter is maybe like 3 or 4 pages, and that's it. Because like I said, it's basically a Twitter manga series. And I'll leave a link to where you can read it down in the description below, like I always do. But yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. This was actually a series that I put off for the longest time. Like I keep seeing the name getting mentioned in like message boards and forums and stuff, but I just never decided to actually read it. And then one day I was just like, I'm kind of looking for something new to read. People always seem to keep bringing this one up, so let me just read the first chapter or two and see if this will be something that interests me. And I got hooked immediately, and I binge read the entire thing in like a day and got all caught up. So yeah, it's an addicting read, really good. I love it. I like the characters and just the little lighthearted kind of flirty moments between the two. It's like a good palate cleanser if you're having like a rough day or something like that. So there you go. There's the guy she was interested in, wasn't a guy at all. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for a notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlists that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.